Think gadget reviews, news, and all about it.
HTC 8s Review. HTC 8X just out of reach of your pennies and your entire palm? The 8s is small on price and handprint but big on style. A vision in color-dipped polycarbonate, the HTC 8s continues the sterling work of its 4.3 and sibling, the 8X, in flying the flag for supremely good-looking Windows Phone 8 hardware. Priced just £180 on pay-as-you-go with 3 or on contract from less than £20 a month, it could be a two-tone dream come true for anyone struggling to wrap their mitts around the 8X or its Android counterpart the HTC One X Plus. But does the HTC 8s perform as handsomely as it looks? And can it trounce the mid-range Samsung Galaxy S3 Mini and Nokia Lumia 820? HTC 8s Review, Design and Build. As we've already gushed, the HTC 8s is just as sexy as the 8X, if not more so thanks to its tidier proportions. Most gadgeteers will find the 8s much easier to use one-handed, just try not to get distracted by the matte, soft touch body too much or you'll find yourself stroking the curved back panel while web browsing. Our Atlantic blue model's color scheme gives it a nice preppy feel, but continues the Windows Phone tradition of flying in the face of the muted and monotone looks of the vast majority of iOS and Android smartphones. Windows Phone 8's big live tiles are very forgiving, so at first glance the 8s 4-inch Super LCD screen looks like a winner. But open up a web page and that 800 by 480 resolution rears its ugly head, with text in particular looking very fuzzy until you zoom in. While gaming or viewing images, the 8s can look a little faded, too, especially next to the best new out there. It does fare well in terms of color reproduction next to the high-end Lumia 920, though. All in all, though, for the price this is a more than passable screen. The keyboard is a little cramped and the bright blue strip for the Winfo keys can be distracting, but if your usage will mainly stick to the built-in apps and the likes of Facebook, you should get on fine with the lowish resolution. Putting in a hit-and-miss performance, the 8s handles everyday tasks well, but the fancy Windows Phone 8 transitions are a touch slower than they are on the 8X and Lumia 920, and that can push them into annoying territory after a while. Essentially everything seems to take 2 or 3 seconds longer than it would on an Android phone, even opening up music stored on the handset itself. Speaking of storage, it's pretty non-existent, with just over 1 GB of onboard space. Thankfully you can whack a 16 GB microSD card into a hidden slot that's in the lower portion of the 8s, and we'd recommend you do this as soon as you get the handset. You won't be downloading any apps if you don't. That said, you do get 7 GB of free SkyDrive space, which works neatly with the camera roll and Office. Call quality on the 8s is generally fine, although we did experience a few dropped calls during our time with the HTC phone, and Wi-Fi sensitivity isn't particularly brilliant. The 8s also gets a little warm when downloading music tracks and games. We're fine with that on these cold winter days, but come summer will be less of a welcome treat. The Windows Phone store still isn't exactly teeming with quality gaming titles, and if you're looking for a gaming phone the 8s probably wouldn't be your first port of call anyway, but it's worth pointing out that both Need for Speed and Assassin's Creed, Altair's Chronicles play smoothly enough. The Windows Phone 8 home screen looks a little messier than Winfo 7, with more live tiles in particular, but each one is resizable and rearrangeable, making sure you can see what you need to at a glance. You'll notice straight away that HTC hasn't put as much effort in as Nokia in terms of built-in apps. Nokia Music and Nokia Drive are superb freebies, but the excellent People Hub is still present and correct, and now has additional rooms, WhatsApp-style groups, to share messages, calendars, photos and your location with friends. Windows Phone 8 perhaps isn't the most intuitive smartphone OS out there, but it is arguably the most exciting, And once you've got to grips with it, you'll find it delivering lots of useful, tailored information at a glance. Make friends with the ever-present ellipsis in the bottom right-hand corner and you'll get tons of options, from editing your photos to pinning web pages to the home screen. Holding down the back button brings up the multitasking screen, which is quick and simple, but be warned, the Bing search button is very easily pressed in both portrait and landscape. HTC 8s Review, Apps. Apps are still a huge problem for Microsoft. It's not that there aren't plenty of apps on the Windows Phone 8 store, it's just that there's not enough we actually want to download. Big apps include Spotify, Dropbox, YouTube, It's a Link to the mobile site, LoveFilm and banking apps. There are ways around these omissions when using the 8s, such as downloading third-party apps like Dropbox Viewer, subscribing to Netflix instead and controlling your Sonos Play 3s with the unofficial £3.99 Phonos app, but none of these are as satisfying as the first-party apps available on iOS and Android. Xbox Music, too, offers a Spotify-style subscription service that works really well, especially when it comes to downloading tracks from the massive catalog for listening offline. Compared to iTunes or Google Play though, Microsoft still has some way to go. It needs to offer ebooks, a proper movies channel in the store and some big, exciting Windows 8 games. The fact that even movies downloaded to the Windows 8 store on your computer won't work when transferred to a Windows Phone 8 handset is downright silly. There's no front camera on the 8s, so video calls are pretty much out, but around the back is a 5MP snapper. It's perfectly respectable for a mid-range phone, but not exactly special. Colors look accurate from daytime snaps, but images are lacking in detail once you've blown them up on a bigger screen. There are lots of useful options to tweak, edit and crop after you've taken the shot, but indoors the camera struggles even when you've altered the settings, while 720p video comes out fairly shaky too. The 8s 1,700 mAh battery, 7.5 hours of intensive YouTube streaming via Wi-Fi with the handset on medium brightness is pretty impressive, and in normal use this easily lasts all day. The 8s charges via microSD quicker than most, too, so you'll never be out of juice for long. HTC 8s versus 8X. HTC had already dropped the Super AMOLED screen and skinny chassis of the 1X in order to produce the 8X, so where does that leave the 8s in the grand scheme? Well, it's lighter and easier to grip, but the 720p screen, slimmer design, larger storage and superior camera mean there's no getting around the superiority of the 8X, and by extension, the chunkier Nokia Lumia 920. HTC 8s Review, Verdict. The HTC 8s is obviously a great deal cheaper than both of those alternatives, though, and with its head-turning looks and excellent battery life, the 8s is a great choice for the budget-conscious gadget fan looking to board the colorful, customizable world of Windows Phone 8.